You're watching GRTs, and from our studios on MDI Road, this is the news. But first, a look at our top stories. The Mauritanian Foreign Minister Ahmed Izzet Bey delivers a special message to President Jammeh Babli Mansa during a courtesy call at State House. Yam Bambanjai Keita appointed Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs. Authorities from the African Commission on Human and People's Rights wrap up a session on peace and stability, essential ingredient to sustainable development. The Gulf Leaders Summit in Saudi Arabia focuses on the regional conflict in the Middle East, Iran and the fight against ISIS. And a major catastrophe at sea again, as a ship carrying migrants sink in the Mediterranean. Well, viewers, these and other stories coming ahead in this half hour. I'm your presenter, TENNENG GITTEH. Welcome back. The general public is hereby informed that His Excellency the President of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia, Sheikh Professor Al-Haji Dr. Yahya Ejeje Jammeh Babli Mansa, acting under the provisions of Section 71 Sub 1 and 71 Subsection 3 of the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia, has appointed Mrs. Yam Bambanjai Keita as Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs with effect from 21st April 2016. The government of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia hereby informs the general public and the larger international community that on the ongoing dispute between the People's Republic of China and the Republic of Philippines over the areas of jurisdiction in the South China Sea, the government of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia supports the position of the government of China not to accept and participate in the arbitral proceedings initiated by the Republic of Philippines in its notification and statement of claim to the Secretariat of the Law of the Sea Convention, on the grounds that the arbitral tribunal under the Law of the Sea Convention has no jurisdiction in pronouncing a verdict on maritime boundaries in the South China Sea. The position of the government of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia is informed by the realization that quest for an arbitral process on the cluster of issues is unilateral and hence at variance with the letter and spirit of the bilateral instruments and declaration on the conduct of parties to settle their disputes through negotiations. Thus, the government of the Gambia further holds that even if the issues were within the scope of the convention, the interpretation and application of relevant provisions should be done bilaterally. In accordance with the convention, the contextual premise of the government of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia on the issue is predicated on the reality that China has indisputable sovereignty over the South China Sea islands and the adjacent waters. In accordance with historical records, the Chinese activities in the area date back 2,000 years ago, following the discovery of the said archipelago. Thus, in the aid of these factors, and the inalienate right of every state to choose its means of dispute settlement, the government of the Islamic Republic of the Gambia firmly believes that the position of the government of the People's Republic of China is amply vindicated by international law. The message ends. A special envoy from the President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania on Thursday afternoon had an audience with the President, His Excellency Sheikh Professor Al-Haji Dr. Yahya Ejeje Jammeh Babli Mansa at State House. Honorable Ahmed Izzet Bey, who also holds the portfolio of Minister of Foreign Affairs, was in Banjul to deliver what he called a special message from the Mauritanian President Mohamed Ould Abdel Aziz to the Gambian leader. He has a brief interview with the waiting journalist.
The contents of the letter was the joint commissions between Gambia and Mauritania. And I'm happy to deliver this message to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. Thank you very much.
فخامة الرئيس الغامبي كان لي شرف كبير نلتقيت ب
Ahmed Izzet Bey, Special Envoy of the Mauritanian President, talking to reporters at State House. The Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Dr. Aissatou Saidi, on Thursday received 45 bags of quality corn seeds on behalf of President Jammeh. The seeds were given to the Gambian leader by Alhaji Jim Gay, of resident of Nyamina Babu Job. The proceeds came from the farm Mr. Gay personally cultivated for the President as a manifestation of his love for him. Rohibite has more on that.
This presentation, according to Alhaji Jim Gay, was a manifestation of the love he has for His Excellency the President. Jim, a renowned farmer and businessman residing in Nyamina Babu Gay, was at State House to present 45 bags of corn, which they say can also be used as seeds. The acclaimed farmer said he first met the President in 2002, and since he has been motivated by the Gambian leaders back to the land call. This corn produce, he reported, is of quality and a good seed variety. Motivating him to present these 45 bags to His Excellency the President, said Professor Dr. Alhaji Yahya Ejiji Jammeh Babili Mansa. Gay also hailed the people of Nyamina and Major Balde, whom he said has always been supportive of his farming activities. Alhaji Jim Gay's love for the President and his will to till the land was re-echoed by the delegation who accompanied him to hand over the food item. Speakers, among them Alhaji Samba Sise, Ajami Gay, Ajindata Fai and several others, all applauded Alhaji Jim Gay's stand in supporting them in their farming ventures, both financially and materials. They, however, called for aid with farming implements and more farmlands. The Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Sirifo Bojang, hailed Alhaji Jim Gay for his love for the President and for the presentation of the corn. Bojang promised Alhaji Jim and his delegation that his ministry will work with them to help them address their needs. The Vice President, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Saidi, received the 45 bags of corn on behalf of His Excellency the President. Vice President Jai Saidi hailed Jim and his people for the love and support they have for the President and assured them of the President's continuous goodwill and love for Gambians. Vice President Jai Saidi also recognized the significance of the presentation, citing the crucial role it can play in promoting the growing of seeds in the country. Rohibite, GRTS.
Meanwhile, the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Her Excellency Dr. Aissatou Saidi, on Thursday presided over the swearing-in ceremony of the newly appointed Chairman of the Independent Electoral Commission, Alhaji Aliu Mohammed Njai. The oaths were administered by Secretary to Cabinet Nuhat Toure. The ceremony was attended by some senior government officials, among them Commission members and staff of the Independent Electoral Commission. The newly appointed IEC Chairman returns gratitude to His Excellency Sheikh Professor Alhaji Dr. Yahya Ejiji Jammeh Babili Mansa for the appointment and assured him of his readiness to exercise his mandate to the best of his ability, ensuring professionalism in a fair and transparent manner. Her Excellency the Vice President Dr. Aissatou Saidi encouraged Mr. Njai to execute his duties in an independent manner, both within and without, adding that people have confidence in the Independent Electoral Commission, both in the country and beyond, due to its credibility, nature in terms of fair and transparent elections. Madam Jai Saidi further assured the newly sworn-in IEC Chairman of government's unflinching support, but was quick to add that the Commission should remain independent in the dispensation of its duties as an autonomous institution. She urged the newly appointed Chairman to execute his duties in accordance with the supreme laws of the state. We hope to bring you that and more in our 10 o'clock news bulletin. Human rights defenders from across the African continent have concluded the 58th ordinary session of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, calling for an end to armed conflict and the rising phenomenon of terrorism. Babukar Kamara witnessed the closing ceremony of the 2-week convergence, and he now reports.
At the end of the 2 weeks deliberations by advocates and human rights experts under the auspices of the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, a communique was issued. The document, among other things, urges state parties to fulfill their democracy and human rights obligations.
The Commission undoubtedly undertook a heavy load during the session. It is our sincere conviction that these initiatives and engagements will result in an enhanced understanding of and better protection and promotion of human rights.
The Gambia is a signatory to a number of international and regional instruments and takes its responsibilities and obligations very seriously. And inter alia acknowledges and supports the right, for example, to assemble and demonstrate peacefully as enshrined in Section 25 of the 1997 Constitution. But that right, like other rights, is to be exercised subject to other laws of the Gambia, insofar as those rights or those laws impose reasonable restriction on the exercise of the rights and freedoms thereby conferred.
Those who put together the communique did not lose sight of corrupt practices that hinders the progress of the continent, the rising trend of insurgency and terrorism.
The Commission was also informed of various forms of violations of human rights. These included reports of increasing attacks and harassment of human rights defenders, forced evictions, the perilous working conditions of miners, the decline in agricultural products as a result of the drought hitting the SADC region, forced and coerced sterilization of women living with HIV, the worrying state of child protection, especially children living with disabilities, including child labor and corporal punishment.
Focus was also on the enviable gains the Gambia continues to make in critical areas of women's empowerment and the entrenchment of peace.
The wealth of our natural resources is, however, yet to properly benefit the African populace, and we can only do so if peace and stability continue to prevail in our countries. Peace is very expensive, and its value is never truly appreciated until it is lost.
The devastating drought tormenting the SADC region was also captured in the communique. Babukar Kamara, GRTS.
First rice seedlings on Wednesday attracted scores of volunteers from 3 communities in the Central River region. Volunteers said they were motivated by President Jammeh's Back to the Land clarion call. Ibrahim Balde reports.
They sang in unison despite their age. These children are inspired by the developments initiated by the Gambian leader. It's another long day out in the fields. Under the hot scorching sun, volunteers from Taifa Arabic School, Flabantan and Sinchubora villages responded to the calls to take part in voluntary work at the Vision 2016 fields. Suna Sise said it was important to participate in this exercise, pointed out that produce from the farm are usually plowed into meaningful projects. The leaders from the Arabic school in Taifa took turn to praise President Jammeh's full self-sufficiency drive and urged Gambians to rally behind the president's national development projects. The Central River region is often described as the country's breadbasket. A lot is therefore expected from this resource-rich entity.
We have to once again thank His Excellency the President for coming up with this wonderful idea of Vision 2016. In fact, he is a man of example, he leads by example. So that's why everybody is following him. Be the youth, women, and elders. They're always following his advice to go to the field, grow what we eat, and eat what we grow. That is why there is never a lull in this area, here and his rice field in Janjambure. It's a year-round activity, and people are always coming out in their large numbers, particularly women groups.
There are high hopes that the crops here will produce a bumper harvest. Regional Agricultural Director Usman Koli is in an upbeat mood.
This is nursery preparation, and the reason why we are nursing now is we know very well that there is rice that we expect to mature in a month's time. And because it's going to mature in a month's time, we are going to go into harvesting very soon. That is where you started. You can see it's already put in, and then in 1 month's time it should be ready for harvesting. So once that is done, what we are planning here is if we harvest, then we will go into transplanting of Gambianka rice. This you are seeing what we are nursing here is Gambianka. We are doing it in preparation for the coming rainy season, so that at least we will plant early, and then no matter how much amount of rain we receive, the rice will still do well. So this is just proper planning in short, so that at least we don't want to wait until the rains are near, we start nursery preparation. But if you start now, by the time you are harvesting, you can always puddle and then you start your wet season production.
While transplanting and nursery preparations are in progress, huge swathes of land are being cleared. Farms manager Major Sidi Balde explained what is being done on the ground.
Work is on a daily basis on progress. We have a series of activities that are going on. That is transplanting, nursery laying, uprooting of seedlings, and then sowing, cutting, that is leveling, making embankments, and then plowing, that is dry sowing. As you can see the cows. We're using the cows, we're using seeders to do dry sowing. Immediately, as soon as they reach at the end there where you have that dike close to the river, they are shifting to the other side, to the other plots.
It's a labor of love, even though some of them are rice growers from this locality. They are so keen to participate in this voluntary exercise, knowing full well that the rice that we eat tomorrow may come from these rice fields. And in the coming weeks or months, a lot of people are expected to participate in the harvesting of some of this rice here at the Vision 2016 fields. Ibrahim Balde reporting for GRTS News.
Well, highlights of that story will be coming after our 10 o'clock news bulletin. Stakeholders in the drive to curb malaria led by National Malaria Control Program have been reflecting on the gains made in the crusade against the killing disease as they outline new strategies for its prevention. GITH's Kumbaba was at the news conference and she now tells us more.
The National Malaria Control Program has convened a press briefing as part of celebrations marking the World Malaria Day, which is commemorated globally. The day is conceived internationally to reflect on achievements registered and address gaps in the drive to reducing the prevalence of the disease.
We've done a lot of things, so a lot of achievements. At the same time, we are faced with a lot of challenges as well. So this is the time we also have to share the results and also the challenges so that at least we find the way forward.
The theme for this year's celebration is End Malaria for Good, with focus on elimination of malaria by 2030.
World Malaria Day represents a chance for all of us to make a difference. And what is this difference? Whether you are a government, a company, a charity, or an individual, you can roll back malaria. This has already been well elucidated by the WHO and, of course, our partners from MRC.
According to WHO country representative, major progress has been made in the area of malaria prevention across the country with the use of effective tools.
The issue of malaria is real, although a lot of advances have been made. And over the past 15 years, between 2000 and 2015, the cases of malaria in the African region were reduced by over 48 or so %, more than the global figure we had.
The partnership between the Medical Research Council Unit the Gambia and the National Malaria Control Program through the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare is said to be cordial as they continue to conduct joint research on malaria prevention.
The MRC wants also to take this opportunity to express and thank the fruitful collaboration that we have with the National Malaria Control Program and the Ministry in general.
According to health officials, numerous gains have been registered, but there are still gaps that need addressing to strengthen services in other parts of the country. The session, which was interactive, seeks to build the capacity of media practitioners and relevant stakeholders in raising awareness of the prevention methods to reduce the prevalence of malaria. Kumbaba, GRTS.
Guarantee Trust Bank Gambia Limited, one of the leading commercial banks, on Thursday commissioned a massive development undertaking. The multi-million-dollar building along the Caraba Avenue plus an access road were formally inaugurated by the Works Minister Honorable Balagaba Jahumpa. Ibrahim Jalo reports.
Guarantee Trust Bank continues to set the pace for commercial banking industry in the country by virtue of the quality and innovative banking services it brings to the customers. However, the award-winning bank has never lost sight of its corporate social responsibilities. The commissioning of an ultra-modern extension building constructed at the cost of $72 million has been complemented with $3 million access road projects. The contract was awarded to Keep Modern Farm, which according to officials stood out in what was a competitive bidding.
building we are opening today, in our view, demonstrates Guarantee Trust Bank's clear vision, ambition, and commitment as a financial institution serving the public interest in the Gambia. Cube Modern Limited, a design and build firm, as the main contractor for the building project, is pleased and humbled to be associated with such an institution that upholds their corporate social responsibility.
The managing director of GITTEH Bank, Mr. Bolaji Adoele, recounted numerous accomplishments by the bank since inception 14 years ago, citing the introduction of ATM Visa card, internet banking, among other services. He further disclosed that GITTEH Bank was the first to introduce an automated teller machine in Basse.
When GITTEH Bank Gambia started operations in the Gambia 14 years ago, we tasked ourselves to become a lead player and a game changer in the industry by not only providing superior financial services in the country, but also by taking a lead role in complementing government in its drive to develop the land of the Gambia. By the grace of God, the determination of our staff and the commendable guidance of the board under our able leadership of Dr. Amadou Samba, our brand is today synonymous with efficient service delivery and innovation in the Gambian banking space. Employment creation, payment of tax, infrastructural development, provision of world-renowned services like Visa and MasterCard enablement, which undoubtedly enhances tourism development.
The governor of Central Bank, Amadou Koli, commended GITTEH Bank for operating under the institution's regulatory framework and has since been leading in terms of compliance. He said the banking industry has evolved significantly during the past 10 years, while challenging banks to consider direct foreign investment.
We at the Central Bank of the Gambia are committed to maintaining a robust regulatory regime based on the core principles of banking, supervision, and international best practice, but without inhibiting foreign investment. At this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to seize the opportunity to thank the government for creating the enabling environment for foreign direct investment. The Gambian economy has benefited from such investment, as evidenced by today's GTB's expansion.
The Minister of Works, Construction and Infrastructure, Balagaba Jahumba, led the formal commissioning of the multi-million-dollar project on behalf of the Vice President. He said the construction of an extension complex and the new access road demonstrate the bank's partnership with the APRC, which he said is development-oriented. He went on urging other private institutions to emulate the GT Bank's initiative.
The extension of the head office of the GT Bank and indeed the construction of the access road at a total cost of only the extension $72 million and the access road itself $3 million, which is a total investment of $75 million. To us, this is a clear demonstration and testimony that indeed GT Bank is partnering with the APRC government in addressing the needs and aspirations of the Gambian people, particularly in the economic infrastructure and financial development of this great nation.
These new developments spearheaded by GT Bank, especially the road, is expected to provide access to transport and ease the traffic congestion on the busy Carava Avenue. Ibrahima Jallo, GRTS News.
Well, with that, we'll take our first break. When we return, we'll take a look at news beyond our borders. We'll be right back.
Réewi Gambia kaay leen ma digal leen li ma mos ba tax xamtuku ba tax ma di leen ko wax muy lan muy ñaari xeeti juice yi nga xam ne ni ñoo xew ci jamono ànd ak jamono maase jamono ñuy lan muy Mina juice ak Lumina juice seen tafaay benn la saf na te li ma ci gën a neex mooy amul benn aftertaste ñu ne boo demee ca Mina juice di nga am li nga xam ne mooy mango ak orange indi li nga xam ne mooy vinto am nañ Lumina coconut am nañ Lumina mango am nañ Lumina pineapple am nañ ñit Lumina strawberry waaye am na yeneen yoo xam ne ni ñu ngi ci biir te tey it mu nga am ca Kereba shop nekk ca Banjul jàkkaaroo school ba ñu naan ko KG5 bi tey it nga dem sa Serekunda ca Julde waaye ekkati sa téléphone nga call waa Kereba shop di 794-8486 bi tey it nga call 994-1786 bi tey it ca Serekunda ca Julde nga call ko ci 98-25425 jaarama waa Kereba shop.
Welcome back. As many as 500 people reportedly feared dead after a ship carrying migrants sank. It is believed that the ship went down sometime last week in the Mediterranean between Libya and Italy. The UN Refugee Agency said only a few dozen people were rescued and taken to Greece. We have more in this report.
Somewhere off the eastern coast of Libya. Now, according to the eyewitnesses interviewed by the UN Refugee Agency and the Internet for Migration, one or several boats left Tobruk in eastern Libya carrying between 100 and 200 people. They run the Libyan coast, but precisely where nobody seems to know, with a larger ship which was already crammed full of hundreds of refugees and migrants. Now, they were told to leave their smaller vessel or vessels to board this larger ship, and in the process, the larger ship sunk very rapidly. One Somali who survived, one of the 41 people who survived this catastrophe, said he saw his wife, his 2-month-old brother-in-law, drowned in front of him as this ship apparently just went very quickly beneath the waves. Now it's drifted at sea for 3 days without any food or water before being picked up by a ship, a merchant ship carrying the Filipino flag. And they were initially housed in a football stadium. We understand they've now been moved to hotels in Athens, but this definitely is by far the worst disaster on the sea route between Libya and Italy within the last year.
From that devastating story, we'll take our second break. When we return, we take a look at sports.
The organizing committee of the International Roots Homecoming Festival, the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, the Gambia Tourism Board, the National Center for Arts and Culture, and the Gambia Tourism and Hospitality Institute brings you the 12th edition of the International Roots Festival from the 6th to the 13th May 2016. On Saturday, 7th May, is the official opening ceremony at the Arch 22 starting 3 p.m. And at 8 p.m. on 7th May is the mega musical jamboree at the Independence Stadium, headlined by your favorite Gambian artists. On Monday, 9th May, is the Roots Pilgrimage to the villages of Jufure, Albreda, and Kunta Kinte Island. And 10th May is the Futampaf, Rites of Passage at Kanilai. Wednesday, 11th May is the official gala dinner at Senegambia Beach Hotel starting 9 p.m. This will be headlined by internationally acclaimed kora player, Gambia's very own Sona Jabati. The gala dinner will be preceded on 11th May by a symposium at 11 a.m. at Caraba Beach Hotel. The 12th International Roots Homecoming Festival, celebrating cultural diversity for unity. Sponsored by XXL. For more information, contact 796-2230 or 7777-010.
Welcome back. Gambia Sports Family will converge for the 7th edition of the Sports Journalists Association of Gambia's Awards and Gala Night. The program is one of the biggest events in the country, and as Babuka Sengol tells us, some big names in the sports are expected to grace the event.
It is the season of sports awards, a period when the country's top and deserving sportsmen and women are rewarded for their exemplary achievements. The big one on the horizon is the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia Award Night. This is the 7th edition of the SJAG Awards. This night has been the main platform for the country's media fraternity to celebrate the works of the people they report on.
To say that the SJAG over the last 7 years, when the Sports Award has been initiated, has always been gaining momentum, recognition and substance along the same time. And this year is no different, because our aim and objective is to elevate whatever is it that we do in the name of sports.
The first edition of the program, which was held in 2007, kick-started what will be an enviable national activity, and for all its regularity, this night has never lost its appeal among the Gambia's media fraternity.
It's the 7th edition, and we hope that it will be a success. And likewise, from then on, we will definitely look into much bigger things when it comes to SGAGs working in the country.
This year's edition is expected to provide the SGAG with the opportunity to present a brand new list of awardees. Babukan Nanisi is a member of the SGAG.
For the first time, the Sports Journalists Association of the Gambia are coming up. We're trying to recognize the performance of women athletes. The last time I saw this happen, if my mind can serve me well, was back in 2007. Since then, much has not been happening when it comes to women sports or football in particular. And thanks to the SGAG that this year they are coming up with such.
For GRTS Sport, this is Babukar Senghor.
And with that, we come to the end of this newscast. Before we take leave of you, a quick reminder of our day's main stories. The Mauritanian Foreign Minister Ahmed Ezzat Bey has delivered a special message to President Jammeh Babli Mansa during a courtesy call at State House. Yam Bambanjai Keita has been appointed as Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs with effect from today. Authorities from the African Commission on Human and People's Rights have wrapped up a session on peace and stability, essential ingredient to sustainable development. The Gulf Leaders Summit in Saudi Arabia focused on the protracted regional conflict in the Middle East, Iran, and the fight against ISIS. And a major catastrophe at sea again, as a ship carrying migrants sank in the Mediterranean, leaving hundreds of lives unaccounted for. Well, viewers, that was all for this edition of the news. Thanks for the pleasure of your company. Do stay with us, and I'm your presenter, TENNENG GITTEH. Have a pleasant evening.